I read it from the book. It says if you have like a conditional statement, lining up with this particular country. And so there's a sort of a rule. The sufficient conditions can never occur together, but necessary conditions can occur together. So how do you comprehend that, and how do you apply that? I mean, in logic games or in logical reasoning?
The sufficient conditions cannot occur together.
Right, but the necessary conditions can occur together.
Can you elaborate on that? I'm not sure exactly what you mean.
So for example, A to B, contrast B, no B to no A. Right. So A and no B can never occur together, but it's possible for B and no B and B and no A to occur together.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So you could never have A and not B. That's impossible. Because A requires positive B. Mm-hmm. So if A requires positive B, you'll never have A with negative B.
Right.
But then B and negative A could occur together because B requires nothing and negative A requires nothing. B does not lead to anything and negative A does not lead to anything either. So the sufficient condition kind of adds new restrictions. The sufficient condition is often difficult to satisfy because it requires other things. But the necessary condition is, I think of it as being very easygoing, because the necessary condition does not require anything to come after it. So I think this just comes down to sufficient versus necessary. Sufficient always requires or guarantees other things as a result, but necessary conditions don't lead to anything in particular. They're much more open-ended.
How do we use it? I never come across a situation where I use that to answer a question, right? I mean, is it valuable information?
That's more of a conceptual thing, honestly.
I mean, not really useful.
No, I mean, I've never really thought about it in quite this particular way. This may be a case of a book overcomplicating something more than you really need to. I think it's an interesting exercise, and I'm glad that I was able to answer it on the fly because I haven't really ever thought about this before. But I think that, honestly, is just the distinction between necessary and sufficient, honestly.
Because I was using those circles to represent, so a big circle and a small circle. So the small circle will be the sufficient, and the big one will be the necessary, right?
Yeah, I mean, this already sounds really complicated to me, to be honest.
Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, circles and triangles and squares and things like that. I think they're...
It's visual. The small one is sufficient. So if you have sufficient, it's got to be in that big circle of necessary. That's how I visualize it.
Okay, well, that could be like, for example, let's say, if it's an apple, then it's a fruit, right?
Right.
So that makes sense because the necessary is the fruit, the sufficient is the apple. There are obviously many more fruits than apples. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's where they're going with it.
Understand that rule, So the sufficient will be A, which is the apple, and no fruits can never occur together. No fruit will be everything outside of that big circle. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Small circle and outside the big circle can never occur together. But then, so necessary condition will be B, which is the fruit.
Right.
And not apple can occur together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So you could have fruit and things that are not apples, like bananas, pears, and so on, occurring together. Yeah, correct. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad I was able to clear that up at least.